Welcome to this week's energetic forecast. We've got so much happening. Again, the action just continues. I mean, we just had this incredible Pluto transition into Aquarius. But this week, we've got this magical moon day on Monday. And then we also have Mercury Retrograde, the last one of the year. And then we have a new moon in Sagittarius. So all week, there's plenty to talk about. So I'm really thrilled to go over the forecast for November 25th. Yep, 25th until December 1st. My name is Desiree DeLune. Thank you so much for watching. I am your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, and I want to ensure that you know what's coming up around the corner so that you can know what to expect. Plan your day a little bit if necessary, or just have some validation as to why you're internally feeling what you're feeling on each specific day. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you are notified every time a new video is up, which is every single week. All right, so I'm going to make this bigger for you. All right, so we're going to begin with Monday. So we are officially in Sagittarius season. We're going to, at some point this week, have 3 planets in Sagittarius. So very, very highly emphasize the Sagittarius energy. And one thing that I do want to mention, even actually before we go into Monday, is let's talk about Saturn. Saturn went direct on November 15th. I forgot to mention that. My apologies, because Saturn's been in retrograde for a while. And Saturn has to do with our discipline. It has to do with hard work, really structuring our days, our time, and just being very committed towards something. And if that has been a little bit of a struggle bus for you, I am very pleased to announce that Saturn is finally moving in direct, like it has moving forward now instead of going in retrograde. So that does lighten that up a bit in terms of that energy, our ability to commit, our ability to work diligently towards something. So I really am happy to see that. And, Saturn has some aspects to our planets this week. So definitely worth mentioning. Okay, so Monday is this grand moon day. I mean, if you just take a look at this moon, do you see all of the blue lines that are going to this? We've got mini grand trine, we got a grand trine. We have a lot of boost of energy. We have a lot of harmonious flow, ease, high intuition. I mean, it's happening on Monday, but backtracking, let's go into this Sun in Sagittarius season. Very important to note and mention because, like I said, we're going to have a lot of Sagittarius energy. Now, with Sagittarius, there is a desire for adventure. There is a desire for exploration, especially when it comes to our ideas and our beliefs, our philosophies, our spirituality. So that's going to be a hyper focused for all of us. It also depends on what house it's overlaying in your chart, but we want to explore a deeper understanding about something we believe in, something that, we claim to be true, what is true and right for us. I feel like, honestly, this next week might be a little bit of an existential crisis where we're going to be questioning, do I really believe that? Is that something that I truly value? But nonetheless, there's a lot of curiosity that's present here, a lot of desire to understand and explore and to learn and just really expand your mind and expand your horizons. It's very honest, it's very blunt. Look, we also have Mercury here in Sagittarius, and Mercury represents the way that we think, and then also the way that we communicate and talk. So another beautiful aspect of Sagittarius energy that it's hopeful, it's very optimistic. It is such a big picture thinker. It sees the vision, it sees the possibility. Sometimes it could be a little bit too, grand in its ideas and beliefs, a little bit too idealistic as possible. But there's going to be plenty of feelings of like, oh, I believe it can happen. There's a lot more hope. There's a lot more inspiration. There's a lot more optimism, and your mind is thinking that way too. So a lot of positive thinking is happening here, positive thoughts around that. Granted, it's going to go in retrograde, but we'll dive into that a little bit later. Now we have Moon, at this time at 1 degree of Libra. Now Libra is a very peace-loving sign. It really likes harmony. It likes symmetry. It likes calm. It likes beauty. It's not one that wants to create a bunch of drama and fuss and disruption. It's gentle. It's very pleasing. It likes to just have a good time with its friends and its family members. So there is also a keen eye for beauty. Here you might care a little bit about how your house looks or how you present yourself. Like you want to put your best foot forward, essentially. So there's a lot of charm here. But in the end, like what it really needs is calmness. It needs harmonious energies around it. So the moon wants to feel luxurious. It wants to be pleasant, and that's what it cares about very much. Okay, so one of the things that we need to look at is that I want to look at our mini grand trine and our grand trine. Like I said, this is a grand moon Monday. And you will see that there is this like smaller triangle here. And the other planets involved with this include the sun and Mars. And with the moon being here at this apex, that means like our emotional needs are of top priority here. And what's great with the sun and Mars in these blue lines, the sextile, the trine between sun and Mars, these are very helpful. They're very harmonious. They're very pleasant. And so you're going to see this harmony between your passion, your desires, your excitement, right? And then also focus, your vitality, your energy. I mean, you're going to feel like you have energy for things because Mars is in a fire sign. It's in Leo. So that has a lot of excitement and exuberance and passion. And so just the way that you're feeling, the way that you're thinking, how you view yourself, your own identity, all of this is just, it's working, it's flowing. You are able to make also very like intuitive, emotionally intelligent decisions. Mars is very decisive, and it acts, it moves forward in things. So you'll probably also get more gut feelings and acting upon those gut feelings, and those gut feelings being accurate. Okay, it's very accurate. Okay, so that's our mini grand trine. And then we also have within this another big triangle here, and that is between the moon and then Pluto and then Uranus over here. And we call this a grand trine. Okay. So, we have the transformative power of Pluto, which is officially now in Aquarius. So it has a totally different essence to it than when Pluto was in Capricorn the last nearly 20 years. So we have this transformative power, this progressive thinking, because that's the thing with Aquarius energy, right? Like what you are sensing and feeling and intuiting, because Uranus and Pluto with moon, we're talking powerful intuition. Not only do you have all this assertiveness and drive and passion and motivation to move and act, but you are sharp. You see it, feel it, know it, smell it, taste it. I mean, you know exactly what needs to be done, where you need to go. And this is going to move you to break free from the past, break free. Like Uranus and Aquarius and Pluto, this is transformational energy. Like you are going to go through this emotional, like cathartic experience where you are breaking free from the old emotional constraints and shackles and baggage that you're dealing with. This is so powerful. This is a great day to really take care of your emotional and energetic needs. Okay. This is a time I would do some sort of powerful, journaling, reflective work with somebody as well. You're going to have access to this transition. Like it's going to be so accessible and so life-changing for you. I mean, emotions are changing on this day. You're going to become liberated from something that has been holding you back and tying you back. So, as I said, it's all on your side on this grand Moon Monday. Okay. So let's take a look at, there is one aspect I wanted to mention that starts today and it will continue on until January 22nd. And that is a Saturn, let's see, Saturn down here, and it's square with Jupiter. These planets, they don't move as fast, like the moon, for example. So this square is going to be here for a little bit, like I said, till January 22nd. Now, look, Jupiter wants growth and expansion. And then Saturn, especially when we're dealing with a square like this with the red line, it can restrict. It can bring some challenges. It can bring some constraints. So just understand that if you encounter, on this growth, on this path towards growth and expansion and evolution that you are moving through, if there are some challenges and restrictions, it's because we have, and some obstacles and delays. It seems like it's going slower than you would like it to. One of the reasons is because of this Saturn that is in square with Jupiter. Look, on this day, though, like I said, we have the mini grand trine and the grand trine. I mean, there's so much on your side, especially on this day. I'm not too worried about that challenge, that restriction. It might be more prominent on other days, but there's so many great things, powerful things going on here. But I just wanted to make note and mention of it because, like I said, that aspect is going to be around till towards the end of January. Okay, so that's our Monday. And a lot of the things I talk about, with that, Saturn and Jupiter is going to obviously apply for the rest of the week. The Sun and Mercury and Sagittarius, that applies for the rest of the week. The moon stuff I talked about is just today. Now, Tuesday, this is an important day because Tuesday is Mercury Retrograde. I know, don't be so scared about it. It happens multiple times a year. So it is something normal. You should see in your own chart. Check your own chart. How do you know if Mercury is in retrograde? Well, look right here. Mercury is this, it's a purple color, I would say, planet. And it's in this chart, it's in the first house. But do you see that 22 degrees? I'm going to go back to Monday. Monday, 22 degrees is black, right? And then on Tuesday, it's red. So whenever we see a red colored of the degrees and minutes, that's telling us that now it's in retrograde. So let's actually, before I go into Mercury retrograde, I just wanted to point that out, but let's talk about the moon first, and then we'll go into Mercury retrograde for Tuesday. So moon, we have a square to Venus. Okay, this could bring some tension in relationships here, maybe some misunderstanding, miscommunication, some conflict. So keep that in mind. And then we do have moon trine Jupiter, which is so nice. Okay, at least case like we have this moon trine Jupiter, Jupiter is the one that looks like the 4 kind of on the right, that will help mitigate some of this moon square Venus we were talking about, because this brings, again, emotional optimism, just feeling very positive about things, and makes us want to connect with others. And it creates the desire to have a deep relationship or have like an intimate moment. So it also can give us very powerful wisdom, okay, powerful wisdom and insights too. That's the nature of Jupiter, and having that great conversation with the moon, which represents our intuition and feelings. Like, this can be kind of prophetic in nature. But this is another space where like gut feelings are going to be strong, and you'll have a good idea of, if you're trying to decide something, your emotional body is really going to kick in, because Jupiter heightens and expands whatever it touches. So your emotional sensitivity and intuition are going to expand because of Jupiter's aspect here. Now, all right, so let's now go into Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrogrades here on the 26th, and it will stay in retrograde until December 15th. Okay, so we've got a few weeks. They usually last for a few weeks at a time. And we talked about Mercury and Sag. It's very like optimistic. It's very big picture thinking. It is very expansive. It needs to learn new ideas. It wants to open your mind. It wants you to see more and understand more than what you have up to this point, because there might be some important insights that you are not incorporating as you are making your decisions about what you believe and what you think and what is true. It's also pretty restless too, Mercury and Sagittarius. It needs a lot of mental stimulation, so it doesn't like to be bored. How about that? It constantly wants to learn. So you might be noticing like a desire to listen to more podcasts, read some more books, things like that. That's a Mercury and Sag situation. Now, with it in retrograde, I want you to think, with any retrograde really, think of these words like review, reassess, redo, reevaluate, okay? Revisit, okay? And so just a lot of the words where we're basically going backwards, and Mercury is asking you to just take a minute. I know like you're really excited with Mercury and Sagittarius, but we need to take a minute and just really reflect and revisit certain things, especially in the area of Sagittarius. Now, what I'd like you to look at in your own natal chart is, where is Sagittarius in your chart? What house number is it by? If you don't know how to look up your chart, I will have a link down below where it's a pretty short video, and it shows you how to look up your natal chart and whole sign houses. Okay, it's very, very specific, and so we can see where Mercury and Sagittarius in what area of your life. So let's say your Sagittarius is in the 7th house. Obviously, it's not pictured here in this chart, but let's say it's in the 7th house, and that's where Sagittarius and Mercury and Sagittarius is. Then this whole like your beliefs and ideas and opinions around your romantic relationships are the thing in question. Okay, so what opinions and beliefs on what area of your life are what you need to take a step back and reevaluate, and reassess and see, like, is this serving me? Is this opinion, is this way of looking at something, my belief on something, my belief of like this relationship, is that really serving me? So that's one way to apply it to your own personal natal chart. We're all experiencing Mercury and Sagittarius, all of us. No one is going to be free from that. Okay, but it's going to make it more specific to yourself. You want to see what house is it in, and then you bring those house themes and topics into this mixture, And I will also have a PDF down there below in the description so that you can pull up all the different meanings of the houses. Okay, so communication challenges are always going to be a thing. So Sagittarius is very opinionated too, as you can tell. We're dealing about philosophies, right? We're dealing with beliefs, we're dealing with religion and spirituality. So we have to be careful to not be so dogmatic and not be so rigid as well. But I think one of the things could happen is just people getting really opinionated and arguing about it, and in this retrograde season. So misunderstandings, miscommunication. One of the things I highly recommend doing is slowing down in expressing your opinions. Make sure that you really think it through and have, good like logic and reasoning behind what you're saying or what opinion you're trying to, influence or whatever. But I love defining words. That's something I do often in my workshops, in my books. You'll see me always just pull out the definition of words, the old definition of words, even, because sometimes the meaning of words change over time. But that's kind of a neutral ground for me is, look, I may say one word and you could have all these meanings and associations with that word, and I could have something different too. And so then what happens? We're not really getting each other. There's misunderstanding and miscommunication as a result. So I like to take a word or a situation and fully put it on the table and break it down so that we're on the same page. So it's just one of my things so that we really are talking about the same things, and then we can prevent all of these, arguments and disagreements that don't really need to be there. Okay. So travel delays is something, if you are doing long distance travel, Sagittarius has to do with long distance travel. It's going, out of the country, or maybe if you're in the States, even going to another state. I consider that long distance travel. US is gigantic, gigantic. So I actually have a long distance travel at the end of the year. I am so glad that I'm not doing it during Mercury retrograde. But be careful if you're doing Thanksgiving travels, stuff like that. Again, that's if you're in the States. Please recheck the details. Make sure that you have the right dates, you have the right time, you have the right airline, just double check. It does not hurt, because sometimes these little details can get messed up and missed. And there is this little kind of struggle between Mercury and Sagittarius. Sagittarius, like I said, is very broad in its thinking too, whereas Mercury loves the fine details. And there is that little bit of a fight here when Mercury is like, we need to understand. We need to understand the exact measurements or the exact steps. And Sagittarius is more like, yeah, just a little bit of that, a little splash of that, right? So different modes of operation. and so with this being in retrograde, I'm a little concerned that sometimes very important details get missed and forgotten. And so we want to just be a bit more thorough than usual. Okay. So there will be a lot of internal, so Mercury's it's going inwards too. It's introspective. So this is about personal growth. We don't need to be afraid about retrogrades. It has its purpose, and it is making us really reflect and reevaluate our beliefs about ourselves, our beliefs about the world, our beliefs about truth and reality. And so this is going to be a time of growth, even though it's a little bit like you need to slow down, but you're going to start to notice and see important things, and that sometimes a Mercury retrograde is needed for you to do it, because we just get so caught up in the busyness of everyday life. Here, take it in, go inwards. Okay. So let's talk about some of these aspects that we got going. We do have this opposition, like I was just talking about, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So Jupiter is that, we call that the dispositor of Mercury. And in this opposition, like I said, Jupiter is the expansive thinking. It's more of like the overview. And then Mercury is all the critical details. And so there is this struggle, there is this fight. So make sure to incorporate both, don't get too caught up in the details, but don't get too just it's almost like exaggerated, or not losing the practicality aspect of this, and just broad strokes. That I think of Jupiter as just broad strokes of things, big picture thinking, but just lacking in detail. And so when we have opposition, it's a call for both. We need to have both big picture and fine details. Don't get too extreme in just one side of being, because you're probably going to have a tendency. I am the detail person. As I go through every aspect and transit, as you can tell, I want to know every little tiny bit of information and ingredient that puts it all together, and then what rest, like I'm Virgo rising. It's a Mercury ruled sign. So I'm a Mercury ruled person. And for me, details is everything. Don't tell me that some place is, it's 25 minutes away, and I go on Google Maps and it says 42 minutes. I will be annoyed with that. That is a lot of time. Those extra minutes, I could do something else. And so I need to know what to expect. Can you tell my controlling nature? I need to know exactly how many minutes it is. Don't give me just, it's a half an hour. It's an hour. No, I want the exact time. So, okay, gives you a little idea. And in that situation, it's also helpful to just chill. Like, it's okay if we have a few extra minutes. Okay, so we've got this Mercury and Jupiter opposition. We also have a Mercury square Neptune, and here's Mercury, Neptune is over here. And this can also be, Neptune is our imagination. It's also our spirituality. So here we can get some confusion here, confused thinking. Look, Mercury's already in retrograde, so even more so, very important to just take your time through how you are formulating your beliefs and opinion about something. So this can kind of feel intuition muddy as well, a little muddy as well. So we have that challenge that we've got to deal with. But it may also create interest in more spiritual, mystical, metaphysical type topics. And even in Sagittarius, like I said, spirituality, metaphysics, those are all philosophy. Those are all very important themes and topics for Sagittarius. And so with Neptune aspecting that, maybe even more so. All right, so that's Tuesday, okay? Now remember, that stays around till December, I think I said December 15th. Yep, December 15th. Now, Wednesday is on the 27th. We still have our Sun and Mercury here. Our Moon is still in Libra. We do have a sextile with Mercury, so that is nice. I always like that aspect, because it just helps with the ability to express and articulate our emotions and our thoughts better. So having a more like emotional connection to what we're feeling. And it's very nurturing communication. So if you talk to people, there's going to be more empathy, there's going to be more compassion and kindness, especially with Moon being in Libra. It's going to create a lot of harmony within your relationships and within your conversations. So that's always nice. We do have a square, though, to Pluto, so that can bring some emotional intensity, feeling overwhelmed, some high highs and low lows. I hope that this Mercury in Libra does calm and settle that down a bit. That is my hope, wish, and dream. But if you do have some intense feelings on this day, it's because of this Moon that is square Pluto. And it is also transformational. And that's the thing with Pluto. We may not always enjoy its presence because it just likes to get down and dirty. And so sometimes, this transformation happens through emotional crises. So some of us might be walking through some kind of emotional crises here, but at least we're able to express and articulate it with that nice sextile to Mercury. Now, another one I want to point out that's going to be around until December 10th is we're going to have Sun square Saturn. Okay, so rest of this week all the way into December 10th, and squares are challenging, and Saturn can be very critical in nature. So struggling with we might see more struggles with self-doubt, self-criticism, really just being hard on ourselves for not being disciplined or consistent or regular. Yeah, there's a call for hard work and discipline. I'm seeing that multiple times throughout this week, and obviously this one's extending till December 10th, but we may have to work a little bit harder to get the same outcome that we're used to. So that can pose a bit of a challenge here. Okay. All right. We do have Venus trine Uranus. So here's Venus down here, and then Uranus is over here, and it's a nice blue triangle line. And this one will help us to feel excitement and freedom within our relationships. That's something that I'd like to see more of. We do have holidays coming around, but being social and finding connection and quality time with the people that we care about, the people we love, and our friends, just making an effort besides just this hard work that needs to be done, but also making room and space, because I think we'll get a lot out of the time that we spend with our friends and our family that we enjoy. The ones we enjoy their company. Okay. And then we have Moon trine Saturn here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is on Thursday. We got to go to Thursday. My bad. So here's Thursday. And Thursday, we have a transition of our moon. Okay. Pretty much everything else is the same, but we still have, the Sagittarius energy of the sun and Mercury, but moon is now in Scorpio, which is a water sign, which is very intense. This is going to be quite an emotional day. I would say there's a hard aspect to it. This Mars in Leo, remember this Pluto-Mars opposition we talked about? Well, that Pluto-Mars interaction that has to do with very aggressive destruction, very like annihilation. It's breaking down in a very, it could be violent, and I'm talking like energetically violent or actually violent. Hopefully we don't see too much out in the world, but this is a volatile opposition, and we've talked about this before, and it's going to be around for a little longer. But now we have all of that intensity of Pluto-Mars opposition now squaring off into a moon sign where the moon is in like stormy waters. Like this is very intense thunderstorms internally that's happening. So I don't expect Thursday to be calm and relaxing by any means, versus, when moon was in Libra. So just be around water. Water is going to help you and soothe you. So basically running water, I think a shower, just a simple shower here will be everything and will help to regulate some of that emotional intensity that's built up, stored up, and that's just like waving around all over the place inside. So, but this again stimulates transformation. It's not fun, it's not pretty, it's not ideal, it's not what we want to go through, but it's a breakthrough kind of energy, and that can be volatile and tumultuous in nature. So like I said, water. That water's going to be your best friend on this day. We do have Moon trine Saturn, which I like that because this brings that sense of um, underneath all of the chaos, all right? Underneath all of the turmoil, there is still some sense of stability and responsibility that is underneath that, behind that. So that's a need for structure, in being practical. At least you have some wisdom and practicality that the moon is receiving from Saturn amidst all of the chaos. I mean, I just think of, like, the ER doctor that is dealing with crisis and emergencies and knows how to be the calm in the storm, right? Like the eye of the storm, and then knows how to move gracefully despite everything that's happening. Okay. Now that's our Thursday. Oh, a little other mention, this how it could express is anger, frustration, and defensiveness, like finding offense easily, but just feeling the need to fight and feeling the need to defend yourself. It could also create some impulsivity too. So if you're feeling like this huge rise of like, I need to say this, I need to do this, before you go act immediately, go take a shower. Go take a shower, and then if it doesn't soothe and settle it down, then go be impulsive because maybe it's needed. All right, so that's Thursday. Now let's continue on to Friday. We have still our moon here in Scorpio, and it's still trine Saturn, and it is now opposite Uranus. So this, you might need some space in your relationships. You might just need some space in general. This is not a time where you need to be restricted by schedule, restricted by people, restricted by obligations. You need some independence and some freedom, and you probably just, after everything from yesterday, this might be like a culmination, like it's gonna burst. It's gonna burst here. So it's Uranus is very sudden, unexpected, breakthrough type energy. So yeah, there's that. Now, another aspect we need to talk about is we've got Moon trine Neptune. I do love having that here because that gives us greater intuition and vision and imagination, and just really being able to see and understand what we're going through and why we're going through it and how do we move through it too. So I always appreciate a moon trine Neptune. Actually, I have that in my chart myself. Okay, now we have new moon to talk about, and it's technically, it could be either Saturday or Sunday, but to give you an idea, new moon actually starts, it's at 1:20 a.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be at 10:20 p.m. In Pacific time. So depending on what time zone you're in, basically it's Thursday night, but it's in the wee hours into, I'm sorry, it's in the wee hours into Sunday. It's Saturday night, but wee hours into Sunday. That's what I meant. So I do recommend, if you plan on doing a new moon ritual, do it on Saturday evening. Do it Saturday evening. So let's just take a look at Saturday, and I have the exact time on the next slide, but look, we've got the moon and sun together, and that's what this is. It's a new moon. Whenever sun and moon are together, it's a new moon. And it's all about Sagittarius, all about it. Now we've got 3 planets here, and new moons are like a reset. That's what I love about new moons. We think about, most people traditionally think about the new year. You have once a year to like set the tone, and you have to wait till the next year to start over. And that's not the case if you are following the cycles of the luminaries and the planets. Like, no, every new moon is an opportunity for you to have a fresh start. And it's different energies we're working with. Following lunar cycles is a very powerful thing, especially as an empath, especially as a hypersensitive. So we are going to be setting new intentions. New moon is a time to set new intentions. So you can set a new intention every single month. And I love this like chunking, bite-sized, concentrated efforts of achieving something, some kind of goal, and working with that energy. So the question is, as I asked earlier, what house is your Sagittarius in? Put that down below, because that's the area of your life that's important for you to set some new moon seeds. And like, I'll just give my example. The fourth house is where I have my Sagittarius, and fourth house is about the family. It's about the home. So there's probably going to be something I need to focus on within my home and family. Maybe, the way that I approach my children, for example, or maybe I like explore new foods that are from different cultures. That Sagittarius loves learning about new cultures, their philosophies, as well as their cuisines, their everything that's different than what they were normally raised by. So I'll probably be, trying out different foods for my family that I've never made before, or work with spices I've never used before. Actually, yes, I found this a Chinese 5-spice, and I'm really excited to play with it. That's probably when this is going to happen. So that gives you just a little bit of idea, practical application to take this information and then apply it to your own life and to your own chart. So what area of your life are you going to be changing possibly your thinking about it, or your philosophies, your beliefs about it, or just explore and learn what part of your life is wanting expansion, is wanting different, it's wanting change and growth, and to really just elevate your whole life experience too. So that's a way to look at this. And another nice thing about Sagittarius, because it's ruled by Jupiter, it has to do with luck. It has to do with opportunities. It has to do with abundance, right? It's expansive. Jupiter's expansive. And we even have this direct conversation with Jupiter right into Sagittarius. So what kind of luck are you looking for? What kind of abundance are you desiring and wanting in this area of your life? Okay, so there is that. I also love the fact that we have moon that is trining Mars for this new moon. And with that, we have, passion and energy and vitality and action and assertiveness towards these new moon seeds. I think these new moon seeds are very, very lucky this month, not only because it's in Sagittarius, which represents luck and abundance and prosperity too, but we actually have the energy for it. Have you ever have goals and dreams, but you don't got it in you to execute and do the necessary steps to nurture those goals and intentions and make it actually happen? Well, this is what I love about this Mars situation here. It's going to provide us the energy we need, and the drive, the motivation, the inspiration, the action, all the goodies, everything we need to make this new moon seed grow well, all the way into the next month. Okay. So you'll have the fire and vitality and energy for those intentions and goals. All right, let's talk about, there's a couple of other things worth mentioning that's also sextile Pluto. Oh, sorry, right here. So you'll see this star kind of blue line between Moon and Pluto. Pluto's transformative power, okay? This is also I think of it as magic and alchemy. And so to throw not only Mars at this, but then also throw this Pluto in Aquarius, which is powerful innovation, reinvention. We get to add that into this magical new moon. So I love this new moon. Enjoy it. Take advantage of it. Don't not do something about it. Like really take time to write about it, journal, reflect, use some sage, use some resins, use some essential oils, like use some stuff, okay? And take at least 20 minutes just to be with this new moon. It is very prosperous, it's very lucky, and it has a lot of transformational power behind it. So that's my recommendation. Now, let's talk about Sunday. So this is, oh, by the way, this is the actual time. As I said, it's going to be happening at 1:20 in the morning on Eastern time zone, and then 10:20 p.m. on the Pacific time zone. But it does happen at 9 degrees, 32 minutes. Okay. Now, Sunday, we still have all of the sun, moon, and Mercury. That hasn't changed. So still massive attention towards the Sagittarius energy, and also expressing it or articulating it with this Mercury. Like this is going to be one of those new moons where I do recommend having conversations around it. Maybe it's conversations not with like the whole world make an announcement, what your new moon intentions are. You can if you want to. But because Mercury's in retrograde, I feel like it would be great to, with a close friend or with a close family member or your partner, with your kid, like somebody that is very open to listen and wanting to know more about your life and what you're going through. I feel like having an intimate person, someone that's intimate in your life, would be a great one to share and verbalize what these intentions are for you. Okay, now Sunday. This is a lot. This is a lot on Sunday. We've got a lot of opposition from Jupiter, I will say that. And then we also have some squares, like it's squares to Saturn is happening, like multiple squares, because these are all pretty close to each other. Well, we have, the sun and the moon are only a few degrees away from each other, right? And then the moon and Mercury are not too far. Jupiter is opposing all of it. So, when I talked about like have your optimistic, vision and plan and dreams and things of that nature, these lofty ideas, right, and goals. But at the same time, you're getting like smacked with a dose of reality and practicality. And that's the thing about Saturn. Saturn could, you're going to feel exhilarated on the new moon. But then you have some of these really hard aspects that you might make you feel like, can I really do that? Is that even possible? You might feel that restriction. And it's making sure that we're realistic. Okay, that's achievable, it's attainable. So, and that's baked in, because even here, you're going to see, like right at the time of the new moon, Saturn is also squaring off here with the moon and the sun. So let's dream, and at the same time, let's be realistic and practical. And Saturn gives boundaries too. So essentially, like, it's going to help us not to be delusional, but also understand the boundaries of this reality. And I appreciate that, because then, the possibility of it actually manifesting physically is much higher. It's much higher. So this will create resilience too. And we grow through challenges. So we don't always want to be afraid of these oppositions and these squares, because this is what tests us. This is what strengthens us. This is what actually gives us power and skills and abilities and wisdom in that process. So you'll be able to navigate any of the emotional difficulties and the challenges that some of your intentions may come up against. Now, don't be afraid of them if they do, okay? It's okay. We can welcome them and learn and power through and get more skillful, right? And get more strategic. That's the thing with Saturn. It does provide skills and strategy. And commitment to a worthy goal that has legacy, that is important, that is valuable, that is worth our time and worth our life. Okay, so that is our forecast. Thank you so much for hanging in there. And do let us know what house your sign of Sagittarius is over. And if you want to get any kind of recommendations in terms of essential oils, regards to some of our more challenging aspects, I do provide that in my Rise and Thrive community. So I'll have that link down below. It's one of the best resources you can get to deal with not only just the astrological energies, and also just personally, like all of us as empaths, there are certain struggles that many of us go through. It's a theme, such as energetic boundaries, for example. And that's a great place to learn so much through workshops, through meditation, and blends and protocols. So there's a rich library of tools, powerful information, and also just increasing your knowledge and understanding of how plants work through the lens of Chinese medicine and how energy works and how they interplay. So please go ahead and check it out. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.